already. We had about 55 people sign up. So whether you're going to be watching it here live or later, thank you so much. So as we let others in, take a moment. Nice deep inhale. Exhale. Just welcoming you to the summer boot camp for emotional eaters. Welcoming you to the summer boot camp for emotional eaters. Shapeshifting. Changing our relationship with our food and especially ourselves. So welcome everyone. Come on in. Thank you for your time, for joining me. I know it's a busy time of year. It's summer. It's always a busy time of year. So I appreciate your time and taking this moment, whether you're watching now or later. Emotional eating is something that has been a lifelong struggle for me, and maybe it has been for you too. I am a super sensitive, empathic person, and it took me forever, just about. I'm still living though, so not forever, but to understand and really call myself an emotional eater. Right? So I have a new book coming out, Confessions of Emotional Eater, which is right now the 10th anniversary of my first book, Confessions of a Shower Tapper, The Ultimate Guide to Living Your Purpose. I always like to say that Reiki saved my life, but tapping saved my business. And through that, instead of giving up, I found myself in the shower tapping on all those limited beliefs. I can't do this. Nobody understands me. Why am I here? I'm too fat, right? And it saved my business. It led me to a business coach. And then I ended up writing the book. And the book has helped me in so many ways. And I keep tapping. I'm a constant daily shower tapper. But what I have to say is that it did bring forward a lot more about that whole idea of body confidence. In fact, when I looked at some of the pictures from my 10th anniversary, I was probably 10 pounds heavier. I was helping my parents. I had just returned to Birmingham. I was new at this. And I was still stuffing all those emotions down, all that I was feeling, using food. I also had a little bit of a shopping habit, but luckily I've curtailed that one as well because these techniques will help you. Whether it's shopping, eating, overeating, undereating, drinking, any of those addictive behaviors we go to match our emotions, to try to process the emotions because we're not dealing with them, is very valuable in the sessions we're going to be working with all week. So what is a shapeshifter and why do I call it shapeshifting? Because shapeshifting is a shaman term that we can use to transform our body, mind, emotions, and spirit. And it's not just metaphorically. I know sometimes you think of like if you've watched any of the shapeshifting or the Native American movies or, Dances with Wolves, right? They talk about like all of a sudden a deer jumps over where it once was a person, but that we think of as only in the physical. But we can still use these concepts of shape-shifting to help us change our own perception. And that's where the whole idea of what I've talked about and what I'm introducing of gap tapping is all about. Because what happens? We say we want to look better, we want to shape up, we have all this, but then we don't do it. So what happens? We fall into what I call the gap between where we are and where we want to be. And shape-shifting helps us to get into the tapping. So if you've worked with me and you know about tapping, which we'll go over, I always have you kind of come here, right here. This point right here is our deep personal work. And we talk about what is that about? So that's where we get into the gap. And that's where we breathe and we talk to ourselves and we use shaman tools to help us visualize and get ourselves out, and then we can continue tapping and reframe, rewire our brain. So important. And yes, the practice is backed up by neuroscience. We can do this. So tapping has been huge in my life, and working with tapping, gap tapping, and my food addictions and my cravings and my emotional body has been quite powerful, which is why I'm sharing this now, offering you this free boot camp all week. I do know we have some VIPs in here. If you're on the VIP, just stay or come back in to the same Zoom link and we'll continue with that so you can get some one-on-one individual attention in the VIP. And if you haven't joined and you want to, feel free. You can always join at the VIP level at any time. I believe it's $49. So it was a hard childhood for me. There was some sibling abuse going on, and I covered it up with food. And then I started covering it up with my clothes. My mother always dressed me in big clothes, tent-like. I even kind of still wear a little oversized. I'm kind of getting used to having more fitted clothing, but it's been a lifetime of struggles and hurts and tears and standing in the mirror, standing in the closet in the morning, crying, I have nothing to wear, and wasting time and trying on 15 things and feeling very insecure about myself, that I started working with tapping and started noticing I was working with the same things, and started doing a little research and started looking at what is cravings about, what is binging about. There's a whole sector of binging now as a disorder. And it is, because we are masking what we're really feeling. The body doesn't need what it's craving or binging on, but that's our addictive behavior. And you know what? We have to learn how to cope somehow. But this may not be the best way in eating, and I've learned that food does not process emotions. Water does. And so that is also a habit and something we will work with. But as we go to start today, we have, hold on, let's let this person in. As we go to start today, we're going to start with our vision. Hi, Phil. Welcome. Welcome. Today, we're going to start with our vision of where we are, like what do we want to envision for us? And that's what part of shapeshifting is all about. The idea of what do we want to envision us to be, to see, to hear, to feel, to show up in that body. How do we want to show up? And so that vision is really important, because we're going to keep returning to it. And that is part of the shaman techniques that we can work with. When we visualize, we pretend, we imagine that part of us. Now, the problem that happens with visioning is that then we go look in the mirror, we see a picture, we go, oh my gosh, I thought I looked better than I did. How many times do you do that, right? I know I do. But shape-shifting and holding that vision helps us to also hold the agreements we make with ourselves. So as we go to begin, thank you again. For those that don't know me, I'm the host of the Empowered Spirit Show. It's a podcast I do weekly, as well as a new show, video show, which has been big for me to be on video, called Soul Messages Through the Ethereal Networks. That'll be on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV very soon. So I have been working in the spiritual development field since I was 40, and I just celebrated my 68th birthday yesterday. So all of these tools have been instrumental in shaping my life. I was in the jewelry industry, still make jewelry, doing all of that, but this is a purpose driven for me now. Semi-retired from New York, came back to Birmingham to help my parents, and now I'm going to have a new transition. And let me tell you, tapping will be part of that ability for me to make that transition. So let's begin by tuning in soul to soul. If you can, for a few moments, close your eyes. Take a nice deep inhale, breathing up the body. And as you exhale, call all your energy into you, slowing down. Inhale, expanding that breath up the body. And as you exhale, dropping right into the heart, right into the deepest part of your heart. Feel that connection, your spirit and the greater spirit. We call in our Reiki masters, teachers that have come before us. We call in the angels to open our hearts with joy and love. We call in the crystal beings for amusement, magnification. And now we call in the higher self right above the crown to help us align our heart, our higher self, for this guidance, these messages coming in. Taking a deep inhale and exhale as we honor all of the sacred elements. We begin with the fire for transformation, turning it into air, clearing the mind, clearing the space. We call in the energy of water to wash through those emotions. This is heavily rooted in how we process our emotions. We call in Mother Earth, the element of earth, to ground us in our bodies. Taking one more deep inhale and exhale. Now right here in the deepest part of your heart, this is where we want to set that vision. We visualize, if you can see, clairvoyance. Visualize yourself. Maybe you feel that energy, how you want to stand in your body, how you want to show up. Maybe you have to pretend to get to that visualization. That's okay too. What about the mind? What is the mind saying to you as you visualize this part of you that's deep, buried inside, that wants to come out? You feel that. You know this. This is your inner self, your soul, your spirit. So see and hear and feel and imagine as we go to set this vision for you. This is where we start. Feel that energy coming alive within you. You know it's there. Hold that vision. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Feel yourself grounding, feet on the floor, keeping that vibration of this vision as long as you can. And then as you're ready, bringing the eyes back open, coming back. So now we have this vision. This is where we start. And then we notice, how long can we hold that vision? Part of working with vibration and energy and techniques like this is learning to lift the vibration and hold that. But as humans, in our daily activities and the busyness of our minds, we tend to drop that vibration, come back to here, being human in the 3D world. That's okay. We're supposed to live in the 3D world. But it's all that other stuff that gets in the way. I mean, how many times have you said, oh, I'll wait until I look better or when I feel better? I was saying that all the time. I'll wait to book that speaking engagement until I know I've dropped 5 pounds or 10 pounds or whatever the pounds are. It doesn't help us. And then you start judging everybody around. That's an old habit. I know of my generation especially. It's not politically correct now, but it happens when we grow up that way. So when we begin to shapeshift and we begin to work with this technique, we start with where we are. So just notice for you, all right? Where is that vision for you? And now how far away do you feel like it is for you to keep that vision and show up in that vision? And that's where we begin to look at what those differences are. What is that going to require? A shift in mindset? All those critical thoughts you tell yourself? The emotional energy? What do you do when you're anxious, stressed, overwhelmed, depressed, fighting these energies? What do you do? So there could be habit changes. What do you need to do to actually shape up, right? Do you need to go for a walk? Do you need to? I know for me, it's the arms. My legs are strong. It's the arms. It's the belly. That requires effort. Somewhat. And then the spirit, the soul, that inner part of you that wants to shine, that wants to come forward, but you keep sabotaging yourself and cutting off all those many ways that you can do that. And that's what we're here today to break through. So with tapping, if you're not familiar with tapping, I love this technique. I've worked with many great teachers, from Ted Robinson, who is no longer here. Gary Craig was my original teacher. Fell in love with Gary Craig. Tapping Solution, I've worked with them. Gene Montroselli, he did a 24-hour tapping marathon over the weekend. So I've had a lot of great teachers helping me along the way. And then taking it with these other techniques of breath work and Reiki and angels and crystals and shamanic techniques and Ayurvedic techniques. All these things we combine to help us along the way. So when we tap, we bring up, what is that issue going on? Is it the inability to get visible? Is it that you don't believe you can do this? What is that underlying emotion for you? So if we talk about the vision, I want to look good. I got this new video show coming on. I'll be honest. I have to look good. My skin needs to look good. My hair needs to look good. All right. And all this shifts on a daily basis. I need to find the right clothes. So I have to hold that vision. And then sometimes no, that's not there. So that's where we want to create what we call just a subjective measure, SUD, a subjective understanding of the distress that you're in. And we give it high on the 10, I'm really there, 1 on the low. And then the technique is that we start at the karate chop point right here. When we start tapping right here, even if you just do this and tap along with me, you start to rewire your energy and move it in a concise manner. So this is a very important point right here. And then right here, we're going to bring up, so even though I have this vision, I love and accept myself no matter what. So we have what we're working with, and then we also follow it with, I love and accept myself, I love myself, I accept where I am. Whatever that variation is that you can say. Why do we do this? Because it helps to satisfy both hemispheres of the brain. We're acknowledging to our ego, we know we have this, but we're going to love ourselves anyway. Because all too often we're stuffing that part down. We don't want to acknowledge it. I don't want to say the negative stuff. So this technique we do. And then we do what we call moving point to point. And we move through the points saying all that stuff that goes on in our mind. Because our emotional body then gets fueled by the mental body that then creates those patterns. The shame, the blame, the overwhelm, all of that. They're not good enough, so I don't have willpower. All of those things that go on in our brain, that's what we tap on. All right, so the points are right here at the eyebrow. So tap with me. One hand or both hands. I like to do both hands. It doesn't matter. Side of the eyes, right here at the temples. Underneath on the cheekbones. On the chin. Underneath the nose, I'm sorry. On the chin. Collarbone. This is an important point. This is where I come to for all that deep gap work. Underneath the armpits, we process lots of work under here. Lots of energy or not. A lot of lymph nodes too. Top of the head. And then we're just going to continue point to point. Same thing. Keep going. All those emotions that we're feeling, all that. And we try to isolate what that emotion is underneath that behavior. So our behavior is perhaps overeating, right? Maybe it's undereating. And so we keep tapping along those points and we say the things that are coming up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a pause right here at the collarbone. Our deep emotional work, and take a breath. And we're going to ask ourselves now, what's really underneath here? Why do I keep sabotaging myself? And we're going to listen and notice what comes up. And that's what's going to help us then to reframe that possibility of holding that vibration for ourselves. So each day we're going to work with a different technique, a different emotion, a different behavior. Today is the vision. So on that scale of 1 to 10, when you think about that vision of you versus looking at a picture, looking in the mirror, where is that difference? How far apart is it? And we're going to get into pictures and mirrors as we go through. But right now, right here, we're going to bring up that distress level so that we can get it down and reframe it. So notice for yourself, no wrong or right, just give it a notice so you can notice when energy is being moved. All right, and we're going to do a couple of rounds of tapping. So at your place, or watching now later, say this to yourself, all right? Say this out loud as we tap, all right? So right here at the karate chop point. So even though I have this vision of myself, I love and accept me no matter what. So even though I hold this vision, I don't think I'll ever get there, but I love and accept myself. So even though I have this vision of how I want to show up, I don't know, maybe it's just a vision, but I love and accept myself, no matter what. Now we move point to point at the eyebrows. I have a vision. Side of the eye. I really want to show up strong underneath the eye, but I always somehow lose that. Underneath the nose, I sabotage myself. On the chin, by all these critical thoughts. Collarbone, I'll never get there. Underneath the armpit, not even with this silly tapping. I don't know. I have a vision. At the eyebrows, I've tried everything. So nothing seems to work. Underneath the eyes, it's a struggle. Underneath the nose, I have a vision. On the chin, but then I look in the mirror. The collarbone, and then I don't know what to do because it doesn't match. And so I give up. I don't try. But I know there's a bigger part inside of me that wants to come out. That does want to be seen and heard. But it's too vulnerable. This has been a big struggle for me. Why does it always be so hard? I'll never get to that vision. I don't have the willpower. I've tried everything. Nothing works. So why would this? But there is something inside of me that keeps pushing me to try. Take a breath. We're looking for those deep breaths, yawns, and ask yourself right here, just close your eyes. What is this really about? And then you notice, you listen, you hear, you sense, you feel, whatever that intuitive part of you is. So there's a part inside of me that I heard like, oh, this is just a childhood struggle. True. And so then that's what we want to type on. So if I take a moment, what is it for you? You want to just close your eyes again and just send that child, send whatever that struggle is without knowing. It's a little general, but this is still very effective, without knowing you. And just send some love to that inner child that just wants to be helped and loved. And see that inner child being loved. I'm going to stop tapping, but you continue tapping. I'm going to send some Reiki right to the heart. For you, for that inner child, this is part of the techniques we work with, sending Reiki, feeling that soothing of energy. We work with a Hanshin-sei Shonin technique that helps to send it back in time to whenever that was. So for me, it was a little girl. What is it for you? When you started covering up and hiding yourself and pushing away those emotions. And just feel that energy coming in. Take a deep breath. And breathe. Another deep breath. And breathe. And then again, right here at the heart, right here at the karate chop. You're deep in your heart, but right here at the karate chop, just feel that love for yourself. That little child that was hurt. Maybe it was a teenager. They're similar. For me, it was a young child. And I just keep sending her love like you're okay, exactly as you are. It's okay. You are loved. You are heard. And then we notice that level of distress. Did it come down? And we're going to come right back to the karate chop point. I choose to love and accept myself no matter what. Release the hands. Take a little breath. Notice how you feel. Maybe a little buzz in. If you have some water, take some water. Water helps us process our emotions. Moves through the kidneys. The kidneys hold fear and hold all the excess energies we don't need. So water helps us to process, not food. So what did you notice? Did it go down? Do you feel calmer? I feel much calmer. One was a little nervous about boot camp, right? But it just like calms me down, centers me. So then I can address what's going on in the present moment instead of all that other stuff that our mind gets spinning and churning on. So when we hold this vision and we get rid of some of that excess energy, we are calmer, that level comes down. And then the important part becomes the reframe. But we do need to get down to those lower levels. All right. So when you work one-on-one with me, I make sure that you're down to like a 1 or a 2, because if we're still up at 7 or 8, it's not going to reframe no matter how much tapping. So we want to get down lower and lower. And once we notice, okay, I do feel a little calmer, then we come back and again, repeat after me right here at the karate chop. So I recognize I have moved some energy and I choose to love myself. I recognize I am feeling calmer. I choose to accept where I am. I recognize I feel more peaceful right in this very moment. I love and accept myself. And then we're going to move point to point again. Eyebrows. I can hold this vision. Side of the eye in a calmer state of mind. Underneath the eye, I can feel calm. Underneath the nose, and recognize I have processed some energy. The collarbone without the food. Underneath the armpits, I recognize some of the anxiety, the eyebrows, some of that critical talk. Side of the eye is calmer. And in this very moment, keep tapping point to point. I am feeling calmer. I am feeling better. I can see that vision of myself. Right here at the collarbone again, take a moment, see that vision of yourself. Close your eyes. And maybe it's a vision of yourself like I talk about being on stage. Maybe it's just showing up with your family or your children or whatever it may be at work. See yourself right there, right now, strong. Continue tapping underneath the armpits. I can be strong in my vision. I can return to this as often as I need and find a vision that works with me in a more peaceful manner. I recognize it's going to take practice, but this tool is a great way to do it so that I can be calmer and show up in the present moment, mindfully, holding this vision, projecting it out, right here, right now. Come back to the karate chop point. I choose to love and accept where I am, no matter what. Release the hands. Take a deep breath. As I say, notice what you notice. Do you feel better? So then the test becomes holding this vision, and maybe you do go check yourself in the mirror and you go, oh shit, right? I thought I looked better. That's when you start tapping again. Okay, each day is a new day. I can do this. I can continue tapping, holding my vision and shapeshifting my relationship, my body, my mind, my emotions, and my spirit. And then when you come back here and tap this, I choose to love and accept myself, the changes will happen quicker and quicker. That's how we reinforce the habit. Because any neuroscience person will tell you, it's not just a one-time thing. You have to recondition your brain to make that new habit. But how do you feel? Those endorphins get going, you feel calmer, you feel peaceful, and that is an encouragement to show up every day for yourself. Shapeshifting is amazing. Let me know what you think about this. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about binging. Let's see what it is, really. I don't want to make it up. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about shame and judgment, and that's going to be the critical mind, the element of air. Who's doing the talking? Who's doing the listening? So the homework is, make a little journal entry. How do you feel? Can you hold that vision? Can you continue to work with that vision? Fine-tune it for you, your inner light. All right, the mirrors can be lying. How many mirrors do you go check out? Photos too. I talk about the story of I'd been invited on a private client to go down to the Bahamas with her and do a weekend retreat and teach her some skills. And so I did, all expenses paid, right? And then she sent me a picture of me in the bathing suit. I'm like, oh. So I could have fretted over that or recognized, like, what a beautiful opportunity. I was down there. We had so much fun. I took the opportunity. I didn't let the fact that I had to show up my bathing suit stop me. So sometimes pictures even can be misaligning and untruthful. I saw a picture of me recently from like 12 years ago. No, like 20 years ago. I looked so good, so young, and so thin. Well, if I looked at what the conditions were, I was going through major divorce. Not a happy time. So the picture, although I thought, oh, this is a good picture of me, it didn't really represent. So those are the things we're going to talk about next week, how our mind gets in the way. But for now, tomorrow, we're going to talk about tomorrow. But for now, tonight, notice what you notice and see how many times you can tap through the day when you start to drop that vibration for you. All right, take a nice deep inhale and exhale, just centering the energies. I always like to separate out, come back to you, come back to me. Inhaling And exhaling, sealing this in, all for the highest good. Thank you for joining me today. Stay on for the VIP. To your spirit. Namaste.